If you have kids and you're going to Disney World in 2026, I'm about to save you time and money. It's no secret that staying on Disney World property is expensive, but is it worth it to stay on Disney World property? There's all these other resorts that are off property that boast how much cheaper they are than Disney, but could it actually be better to stay on Disney property to save some stress? That's what we're going to be talking about here. Is it better for transportation? Do you get better food on Disney property? Do you get better accommodations? And most importantly, is it better for your family? Welcome to Travel by Candace. My husband and I go to Disney World 6 times a year, and now we get to bring our sweet baby girl with us. I love sharing tips and tricks on how to help you have your best Disney vacation. So if you love Disney travel, hit that subscribe button and come along on my family adventures. Let's start with what Disney resorts do well. One of everybody's favorite things about staying on Disney resorts is early entry into the park. So if you are staying on property, you can enter the park 30 minutes before the parks open for the general public. Another thing that people love is early Lightning Lane access. Lightning lanes are Disney's skip the line service. Basically, before your trip, you can pay some extra money per day in order to skip the longer standby queue and get to wait in a much shorter line, possibly no line, to ride the favorite, most popular rides at Disney World. If you're staying on property, you can pick out your Lightning Lane rides 7 days before your trip. But if you're staying off property, you'll have to wait until just 3 days before you come to do that. If this is your first time coming to Disney World, those Lightning Lanes can be such a game changer to make sure you can get on those most popular rides. Having an extra 4 days to book those Lightning Lanes ahead of everybody else can be really wonderful. Now, their parking situation is somewhere that can actually save you quite a bit of cash. So there is free parking if you stay on Disney property, and that's a big deal. Stick with me. For most resorts off of Disney property, you do have to pay to park a car there. So if you're going to rent a car so that you can drive to Disney World on your park days, you'd have to pay maybe like $20-30 a night to park at your hotel, and then it's another like up to $30-35 to park per day at Disney World. So all of a sudden that's an extra $60 a day you would be spending. Or you stay on Disney property where it's completely free to park at the Disney resorts. Plus, if you're staying on property, it's also free to park at any of the Disney parks. But there are shuttles and monorails and Skyliners, so you might not even need your car if you're staying on property. And one of my favorite things about staying on Disney property is the late night food. Disney parks might not close until 10 or 11 at night. You get back to your hotel, you and your family are a little bit munchy from all the running around you've been doing all day. I love that Disney resorts offer you some really yummy treats, cheeseburgers, chicken tenders, like real meals, even though it's late at night. Lots of other hotels or resorts might just have like bag snacks that you can quick grab as you go up to your room. I love Disney because you can have a good meal even at late hours. My favorite thing about staying on Disney property is that you know they are going to take care of you. I travel with a baby, so there is so much that we have to bring with us, but sometimes we forget things. I love that there are free cribs or pack and plays that you can request, as well as diaper genies. If you call down to housekeeping, they'll bring you extra blankets and towels and everything, and they don't make it seem like you're this bother or a hassle. Like they're really, truly happy to help you. So I feel so taken care of. It really feels like coming home when I stay at Disney World. I also feel like Disney rooms are designed with kiddos in mind. There are fifth sleeper rooms where they have the 2 like big queen beds like most hotel rooms have, but they also have a 5th bed that folds out of the wall that's like the perfect size for a child. And in all of the Disney rooms that I have stayed in, there's plenty of room to roll through your stroller and roll in a crib, pack and play. Whether you're using Disney's or you're bringing along your own pack and play, there's plenty of room for your family. Now, not all Disney resorts are made equally. There are dozens of resorts across Disney property. Some are big, some are small, some are expensive, some are actually quite affordable. And it all kind of depends on you and your family what might be best for you. A bigger resort might offer more activities to do if you were choosing to do a rest day while you're at Disney World, like a day that you're not going into the park. Some resorts have fishing, some resorts have horseback riding. There's really so many different options depending on what you choose, but usually it's the bigger resorts that have more options. There's also a drawback to that. Bigger resorts means much more walking. I don't always want to push my stroller super far to get to the bus or whatever transportation I'm using. Sometimes I actually prefer to stay at a smaller resort. Plus, smaller resorts might be a little bit more affordable. For example, the All-Star Resorts. These are definitely Disney's most affordable resort. I think a big misconception in people's heads is if I don't spend a lot of money, it's not going to be good. I have gotten to stay at the All-Star Resorts for like $120, $100. Those rooms are clean, those rooms are updated, and it's been a wonderful experience. You don't get the multiple restaurants at the All-Star Resorts, and you only have one form of transportation, and that's buses. But honestly, if you know that you're going to the parks every single day, open to close, or even just most of the day, the All-Star Resorts can be perfect, exactly what you need. Another thing that differentiates different Disney resorts are their transportation options. Disney has boats and buses and monorails and Skyliners. Oh my, there's so many options depending on what parks you are going to. This is for all the mamas out there. I hate folding up my stroller. I hate it so much. I think it is the most cumbersome thing in the world. I love my stroller. It is a Kiko Fit 360 or something like that. It's really sturdy, perfect for getting through the parks. However, I hate having to take the time to like fold it up, and then my husband has to wrestle it onto the bus and I'm carrying the baby, then we gotta get it up. Like, no, I just don't like doing it. So I prefer to stay at resorts that have transportation options that do not require me to fold up my stroller, such as Caribbean Beach, which is on the Skyliner. The Skyliner is Disney's Sky Gondola system. It is a beautiful and fun and free way to get around Disney property. Another option is to stay at a monorail resort, where you are able to just roll your stroller right onto Disney's train to get to Magic Kingdom. And a third option is to stay at a resort that has access to the boats. So that might be the Swan and Dolphin. There are other resorts that also have access to this. You can always check the My Disney app to see exactly what transportation each Disney resort offers. Another thing that Disney property does well is just offering that extra Disney magic. Like when you come to Disney World, your tickets are so expensive. So when you're able to go back to your resort and get even more magic, oh my word, like it's the best. It's the best feeling. Like one of my favorite memories is when my family and I were staying at Coronado Springs, and we were just rolling out of the lobby, and all of a sudden Daisy Duck comes running up to us and starts laughing with my daughter. It was the sweetest thing. They got to take pictures. At the last minute, Chippendale came out of nowhere, and then they got to take pictures with us too. It was just the most wonderful, magical moment. I couldn't have created it. It just happened because we were staying on Disney property, and I love that it feels like Disney knows that they're expensive, so they try to offer you these extra moments, really high quality rooms, beautiful landscape at so many of these resorts. I've loved it. I have never had an experience staying on Disney property that I haven't loved. I know that's big. I know a lot of people have had rough experiences because nobody's perfect, but in my experience, staying on Disney property has always been so worth it. Now, let's talk about the flip side. Staying on Disney property might not be best for you, and let's talk about what that might look like. Number one, let's face it, not everyone loves Disney to the point that they want to be immersed in it 24/7 on their vacation. Lots of Disney resorts are also very Disney-ified. Of course, you're on property. So if you aren't a big Disney fan, but your family's looking at staying at Art of Animation, that might be a little overwhelming for you. It might be worth it to look at some off-property options that aren't crazy Disney themed, so you can just unwind at the end of the day. A second reason why staying off Disney property might be best for you, you might miss out on some non-Disney adventures around Orlando. Disney is not the only super cool thing in Orlando or even in Florida. Just in the Orlando area, there's Universal, of course, and SeaWorld, but there's also some world-class food that I haven't even gotten to check out yet. If you're staying on Disney property, it's easier to just be like, oh, let's just take the boat to Disney Springs. But if this is your once in a lifetime chance to go to Orlando or to come to Florida, I encourage you, check out some things that are off Disney property. There is so much to see. A third reason why staying off property could be better for you is just the variety of staying option. If you're traveling with a big family, it might be cheaper to just rent a house on Airbnb than to have a whole 2-bedroom suite at Disney World. So that can totally be a really helpful thing to keep in mind as you're planning out your Disney trip and what kind of sleeping accommodations would be best for you guys. Because sometimes staying in a hotel room isn't best and doing an Airbnb might just be better for your fam. We know that Disney resorts can be expensive. You can usually get a lower nightly rate staying off property than you could staying on property. However, definitely a personal opinion, I feel like what you save in money, you might end up spending in stress. If you're staying off property, you really got to figure out your own transportation to and from the parks. You really got to think about what you're going to eat and where instead of having a ton of options right next to you within walking distance. I'm trying to do as little work as possible when I'm on vacation, and so I've really seen that staying on property helps me just save brain space, be a little bit calmer in stress. However, the biggest way that I save stress is making sure that I'm saving as much money as possible. So let's get into that. How to save money on your Disney trip. One of the best ways to save money is to really pay attention to when you go. I find that going right after a holiday or during a time that most kids are in school is usually a good time. Rates are lower because less people are traveling to the parks. Another important thing to keep in mind is where you stay and how long. So let me tell you about a trick that I have used over and over again called a split stay. That's the idea of maybe spending a night or two at a cheaper resort, like staying at an all-star resort for $120 a night, but if you still want to get a little bougie, get some more upscale Disney experience, you can also stay at a deluxe resort like the Wilderness Lodge for just a night or two. So that way you don't have to spend a ton of money on your entire trip if you spent, say, 5 nights at the Wilderness Lodge. What if you spent 3 nights at All-Star and then just 2 nights at Wilderness Lodge? You kind of get the best of both worlds that way. And Disney offers more discounts than you might notice. There are discounts for military members, Florida residents, annual pass holders, of course. And I feel like I see extra discounts pop up every now and again. It's so important that you keep an eye on the My Disney website and don't be afraid to call in and talk to the cast members. Now, I've got a secret that Disney probably does not want to tell you. Sometimes I can get the best rate on my Disney room off of the Disney website. There's this website called Undercover Tourist that I love to use. If there's a room that I really want on Disney property, but I feel like it's priced as a crazy number, I head over to this website and it usually has 20 to 30% lower than what the Disney website is offering. I am not sponsored by them. I just love them. I've been using them for years. So as you're looking for your room for your Disney trip, don't be afraid to check there. And Undercover Tourist also has resorts linked to Universal and even just resorts all over Orlando. So you gotta check it out. It's pretty cool. Those are the main ways that I have found to save money on my Disney trips. There are other little things that I do. If you want to hear more about that, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to talk more about it. I am a Disney lover, but I'm a mama first who wants to take care of her family, and that means taking care of our finances too. I hate the feeling of going away on vacation, then you come back and you get this crazy sticker shock when you look at your bank statement. After you just had this wonderful time with your family, the last thing that you need is to get home and then be stressed about how you're gonna cover things for the rest of the month. It's okay to pick the budget option, but protect what's best for you and your family. Sometimes it's staying on Disney property and sometimes it's not. That's okay, whatever's best for you. And I know that so many of you watching this are just like me. You love Disney, but you also want to stay on a budget, and that is why I make these videos. So if you want a realistic perspective of what it's like for a mom to go to Disney World with her family, always on a budget, I would definitely love to have you along for more of our adventures. Thank you so much for watching. It's been really fun getting to share all this with you. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.